point where we've started the meeting, and it is past 6:15. So let's do a roll call vote. Not a roll call vote, a roll call attendance. Jan Norman, on here. Abby Goldberg, she did email me. She won't be here. Margaret Kirstein,
Here.
Mary Lou Splain,
Here.
Alyssa O'Leary,
Here.
Jane Hamill, I'm here. Emily Britton,
Here.
Rebecca Passa,
Here.
Patty
Was that too
Doherty,
loud?
I'm here.
Deb Luznia.
Here.
Okay. So,
Is my speaker volume too loud?
yeah, no, you're good.
Okay.
I'm just using my computer instead of a speaker. I do have the whole headset thing, but it looks like you're flying a plane. Okay, what was the next thing on the agenda? Oh, damn, I did have an agenda. Just to go over the protocols of this. And if anybody is not sure, obviously you're here. You've all probably worked with Zoom before. So we're good with that. And I just explained that everything has to be a roll call vote. There's no exceptions. Everything is recording start to finish. And then I have to, it's recording onto my computer. I will have to upload it to the town, wherever the little recordings go. Barbara sent me a link. One thing on the agenda that we can just throw out right now is Culture of Chaos was canceled. So we have nothing to do this summer.
Yet.
Well, we're going to discuss that. So next on the item would be the minutes. Has everyone seen the minutes? I have minutes here. And there were two pages of minutes, one from the actual meeting, one from the workshop after the meeting. And thank you, Rebecca, for sending those out.
You're welcome.
I must admit I didn't read them yet. Been busy.
Oh, okay.
Do you have them? Do I need to?
No, I can find them.
Okay. We have no public speakers in the waiting room, so we don't have to read them out loud at this point. So everyone who has read the meeting, the minutes, any objections, any amendments?
So let me ask this question again, because I might not have accounted for whether Buddy was absent. I'm just confused because I don't know if he's on the committee or not.
Well, I've been told by the mayor's office that he is not. So I'm going with that. They just haven't caught up on the website.
Okay. So anyway, I think I did not include him as absent in the minutes.
He's not even in our loop anymore. He doesn't get any of the letters or emails.
Right. Okay.
All right. So somebody please motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Somebody second?
I'll second.
Okay. Do we accept the minutes? And I'll just go with the people on the screen. Deb?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Alyssa?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Emily?
Looks fine. Yep.
Mary Lou?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
All right, meeting, the minutes are accepted and approved. They will go out in a while. So, all right, next up, we have no public speakers as of yet. So on to, if I can remember what the first agenda item was my question of what's our purpose during this time, since we're kind of cut off from everything. Who has any ideas?
Right. So I think it's written on the agenda as mission of CRC during pandemic and quarantine.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Anybody have any thoughts? I'm clueless. I don't know what to do. I go out
I
for
have a-
groceries once a week.
I have a thought.
Yeah.
Since basically, I mean, at this point, since we don't know when we'll ever be able to see each other again in person, I'm thinking our options are all limited to electronic options. So I was just thinking that you know, to run a Facebook page ourselves requires a ton of effort and a lot of time and energy on someone's part or people's part to do that ourselves. But I was thinking that maybe what we could do to just begin to share who we are and share some brief messages is maybe we could start to have like a Facebook presence as a committee and have some postings that go on the various Easthampton Facebook group pages, like there's Easthampton Friends and Neighbors, or there's Easthampton Good News, and then there's Easthampton Community, whatever. There's like a few different Easthampton pages.
Mhm.
So maybe if we had like a logo, our identity, and some messages that we wanted to share about who we are, I mean, for an electronic presence, that might be the best way to go instead of like to post something on these various pages rather than trying to create our own just because it requires so much time and energy to maintain and actually do it well to have our own Facebook page at this point. It's just a thought, something that it would be easier to do to just like post on some of these community pages that already exist. Just a thought.
Right. I like that idea. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, like obviously it would be like CRC as a member, a person, instead of holding a whole page, and we would be
Yeah.
posting, and maybe any one of us would have access to post that, or we'd run it through Jane or something like that first.
Yeah, we'd have
or-
to set
That
up
was
a-
going to be my question is how do we all know what's going to be posted?
Right. Maybe we need to
Be-
run it
before-
by everybody and
And
make sure it's
that
approved.
yeah, that conflicts with the
Yeah.
open meeting law.
Right.
But
Right off
what
the
if we
bat.
do it? What if we approve it each month? Like one a month is better than nothing. Or two, we could approve 2 a month and send one out right
Yeah.
after the meeting, and then 2 weeks later we have approved both of those. Maybe.
Yeah, we just
Mhm.
have to, yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
it's more manageable that way too than to think that we're going to do something that's really, intense.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, now that I'm saying this too, we probably actually do have to have a Facebook page in order to post anything on someone else's, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's what I was thinking,
Oh,
like, it would have to be one of us using our personal pages, which I don't think I would be comfortable with.
And I'm not even on Facebook, so.
No, we would have to
We would have to
create,
have a page.
we'd have to create a separate committee page.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And-
Well,
and
I
I
think-
think we'd have to ask the mayor's office if, what the protocols are for that.
Yeah. And I was
Or-
just thinking about
or-
like we'd have to have a page, but instead of having like making our goal be to get as many likes as possible and get people to pay attention to us as a page,
Mhm.
maybe more we could just like put those posts out there to convey messages and not be so obsessed with like trying to create a lot of
Okay.
followers,
Yeah,
Well, if I understood Emily, I thought the thought might be to create a presence as like as if it were a person.
Mhm.
We would create a new Facebook person
Mhm.
with. And another question I have is if we have progress on the logo, because the image of the new person with
We need
the
that.
community relations name
Mm-hmm.
will be
The logo.
the logo.
Mhm.
So
That's
can
a
I-
thought. Do you think we can go forward with that part of, obviously the events are down, but we could
I wouldn't do
continue
it
with Deb's person for a logo.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it without the logo, but so here's an update on that situation. So Mary Lou provided the name of Elizabeth Green as a possible graphic designer for us, who said she'd be willing to do it.
Mhm.
True Confessions, I didn't get my request out to her with all the details until last week because I kept thinking, oh, well, we can't meet. I didn't think Cultural Chaos was how I apologize. I kind of
Yeah.
just like backburnered it because I thought, this doesn't seem to be that's not gonna be happening. So anyway, I just sent all the detail and background information to her last week. She said she'd have something for us to look at by April 30th. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Can I just jump in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two things. We don't want to create a Facebook page that's a fake person. I think that's weird. Personally.
Well, I mean, I was just
No.
thinking, I mean, I want to keep
Some
it
people do
person.
that. Some people do that, but okay, it can be weird.
Excuse me, what, can we have just one person speak at a time, and when they're done,
Okay.
people react? Okay, Patty?
Yep. So I don't know if that's what Emily meant, but I'm just saying, I think that we should have a Facebook page that's us. That's our committee.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then my second thing is, I actually think that it would be fine to do a Facebook page without a logo at this point in time. And it could just be a standard, you could have just the Easthampton, Easthampton Community Relations Commission, and then we could do it without the logo. I think if we're trying to just slowly roll something out, I think it's okay to do it without a logo. That's just my 2 cents on that.
I personally, I wouldn't do that, because I think one of the big things is to get an association, an image, and get that association going from the start, and who you are, and a look and an identity. So, I mean, since we're not in a real crisis rush here for a deadline, or we don't have to, act before the next meeting, I would take the time to get the image in place. So that we want to start off with making ourselves known and getting our identity out there. I would want to start off, so people have a look and know, oh, this is this group of people. That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
This is going to require monitoring.
Yes. And what about the issue, Deb, that you said it was so much work to set up? I'm not on Facebook, to set up a Facebook page or to monitor it. And what about all of that?
Well, I guess I should clarify. To actually create one is easy. That's simple to do. I just meant in terms of putting information out there on a regular basis and making it interesting and making people want to follow you and all that is a lot more work. So
Administrating it.
What'd you say, Patty?
Administrating it.
Yeah. That's just a lot of time, because you got to come up with what the posts are, make it interesting and attention getting, and, and do it regularly so that you get the following.
I'm definitely
Yeah. Go ahead, Alyssa.
no, I'm definitely not opposed to this. I think it is a great idea, especially with another form of communication that we can have with people in town. But it's just a big commitment, because in 6 months, we hopefully will not be doing this kind of lifestyle anymore. So are we going to have the commitment to still post and that sort of thing? So that's just my concern with starting the Facebook page now. We're in 6 months. Hopefully we're all out and about again, and we might not even have time to do Facebook. That's my thought on it. But I do think it is a great idea.
Well, yeah, I don't know what people think is valuable in terms of updating of a page. I don't update my Facebook page very often at all, but I believe my friends appreciate it when I comment and like the things that they've posted. They may think, gee, she's just a voyeur, she never posts anything, but I don't think that's the case. If we had a page, can we do it so that people don't post on ours? That's something I don't know about. And no one can post on our timeline, so we wouldn't have to be checking our page all the time to make sure it's okay. And if we meet once a month, couldn't we come up with 2 posts a month, and then somebody volunteer to post them, twice over the next month? And do you think that's enough, frequent enough or not?
I think it's a good start. It's something, right? I think it's okay. Considering probably none of us want to take this on in a really in a big time consuming sort of way.
Mhm. Mhm.
What do you envision sort of the post to, what kind of messaging do you envision?
I guess I was thinking like going with our good neighbor theme, like tips and hints about being good neighbors, like just a little blurb, you know, something that would encourage people to, you know, hey, spend some time in your front yard and maybe you'll have the opportunity to meet some new neighbors, or you just put like, you know, a 1 sentence, 2 sentence little tip out there of, I mean, this kind of season lends itself well to those kinds of messages about reaching out to each other and, or, you know, check on your neighbor. Does your neighbor, you know, need help with this or that? I mean, we could come up with a better way to say these things. I'm not saying
Right.
it the most interesting, engaging way, but, you know, we could put out little tips and hints about, you know, helping our community engage with one another, or
Mhm.
do good neighborly types of things.
Yeah, I wanted to share something. It's this little tiny thing here. Two young women taped it on my mailbox, and I watched them go down the street and do it. It says, hello, our names are Elsa and Care. We're your neighbors on Johnson Avenue. Care's phone number is this. We're reaching out because we know that coronavirus is spreading in our area and we want the neighborhood to be connected so we can stay in touch, have an emergency contact sheet, and support each other with any needs that may come up, groceries, pharmacy runs, etc. There are other neighbors dropping off these flyers. We're working together to make sure no one is alone at this time. You can email us at blank. Please call, text, or email us if you'd like to be a part of this neighborhood network. We look forward to hearing from you. Got a friend interested in organizing their own neighborhood pod? Contact the Western Mass Mutual Aid Network at blah, blah, blah. Don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions or concerns. But I was busy, like a week later, I emailed them, and they emailed back and asked me to fill out this little form, which I haven't done yet. I'm not sure what the form is about. I haven't looked at it yet. But I thought it was fascinating that they did this. And
I got one of those too.
Yes,
And it was a different neighborhood, different name, but I got the
yeah,
same
every
message.
neighborhood seems to have one at this point. I'm on a newsletter from a family on Williston Avenue, which is right around the corner.
And do
And
they all? Yeah.
It's all over. My friends in Western, in Monica Center had one of those on their door as well. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
over, you know.
I'd like to add something, which is that something that is on Facebook is a group that was created when the virus was coming in called Mutual Aid Easthampton, Mass. And I haven't paid a lot of attention to it due to time, but I joined it. They have 3 administrators, moderators: Sita, Magnuson, Louise Jacob, Jen Sandler.
Oh.
So I don't know if we'd want to, I mean, if we want to pay attention to this kind of effort, or maybe, you know, if we have a page and we think that these are good efforts and we want to call attention to them.
Emily, I wonder if that's the group, because I sat next to Sita at
Right.
and I'm wondering if that sprung from that group, because I know there were some emails early on about her wanting, you know, to try to do something. So I'm wondering if that might be a piece of it.
I know, that's interesting, because Rebecca just said Sita was listed on hers, and hers was called Mutual Aid, and this is called Western Mass Mutual Aid. Yeah, I know. I don't know if Mutual Aid came before Sita or Sita started Mutual Aid or what, but it's a good question.
And the group has a description which includes the remark that they will host a weekly virtual community lunch every Wednesday at 12 noon, and they give a Zoom address for that. And I mean,
You
if
have to
I
make
want,
your own lunch?
I think so. I think you do.
You have to bring your own, Jane.
Yeah, I think it's bring your own. Yeah. Yeah. And let's see. So if I look at it too, I can see that it's active to the extent that they have some posts, the recent one 6 hours ago. There's something about research from Finland about whether 6 feet is enough. Let's see what else. Let's see, somebody is reaching out and asking if someone's going to the mobile food bank on Thursday. You know, this is a page to help each other, so I think that person may need help. Some other is talking about school lunches, something about information about taxes, you know. Anyway, so I can see that there are a lot of posts on here. So it could be good to know about. If you, I know how to share a screen if you want me to show it off a little, just so that you see what the page looks like, but.
Sure. Sure.
Well,
Sure.
why don't you send us all the link
Okay.
later, and then we could look into it more later maybe, but
Let's see, we probably can't chat, so I'd have to send the link by email, I think, right?
Yeah, so when I go to look, just on Facebook, there's Mutual Aid Boston, Mutual Aid Worcester, Mutual Aid in general. So it looks like it's, Berkshire County. Yeah.
Yeah, this is called Mutual Aid Easthampton, MA. The address is, https www.facebook.com/group/Easthampton Mutual Aid /.
So if we go back to our mission, maybe our posts could be very simple and about reiterating our mission. Initially we were set up to be a liaison to help the mayor with community relations, right? And the good neighbor thing is something we want to spread, but there's all these other things going on too. We could highlight all those things if we're not going to create those things ourselves. Or, I don't know. No.
Pause.
I
Well, we
don't
can
know if-
even, oh, go ahead, Mary Lou.
I don't know if any of you, I've been following the posts or on the Easthampton site, that the COVID posts that they're doing like every day or every other day. And that has a lot of information on resources in there. So, if that's kind of what we want to do is be a liaison, I'm not sure that piece isn't already out there.
Yeah, that's a liaison about resources.
Yeah.
Our job was about discrimination and, all the isms between the cultures, right?
Yeah, we are not offering any service.
Right.
We're not a social service organization, and we're not going to run groups, and we're not going to, I was just on the site, Rebecca, that you were talking about, and about joining, and you can have a presence or not, and, it is about even having, virtual groups for support. And it seems to me that we don't need to, if we were to do anything, it might be to be a warehouse for all of this information, but it sounds like all these other organizations in some ways are already doing that. Like Easthampton. So I remember, this reminds me, one time I wanted to, for Thanksgiving, give out meals, and so volunteered, and there were like thousands of us almost, and everybody almost carried like one little piece of turkey to somebody's house so that you could feel good about yourself because you volunteered or you were doing something kind. But it was kind of pointless, you know? And so it sounds to me like we're searching for a raison d'etre. We're looking for some reason to exist right now, and how to do that. I mean, I think Deb's idea is a good one, but I don't know what we really have to offer.
So maybe, it's not so much us offering anything, but in kind of getting back to what Deb and Emily kind of said also, is just celebrating all those things that are being done. Like, whoa, look at Easthampton. They've got so many, these kids going around and, trying to be helpful and, whatever is going on, and maybe that's it. Maybe it's just, maybe that since we're not fully formed and we're not in a, we're just not in a position to, as a group now really be, the voice of Easthampton as neighbors. Maybe for now, what's a good start for us is just highlighting the great work that's being done. So, having a picture of Robin at the community center, on a day when they're handing out meals, and just celebrating that and keeping it pretty, pretty safe, so it's not controversial. And then we don't have to worry too much about monitoring posts and things like that. I mean, I think that's a good start if we want to start doing something. And then I think stuff will start to follow.
Sort of highlighting the good neighbor.
Highlighting the good neighbor. Yeah.
Right. Like the Good News Network. There's several Good News networks out there right now, right? So we're the Good Neighbor Network advertisers, or Good Neighbor News Network.
Then we'd be stepping on the toes of the Easthampton Good Neighbor.
Oh, yeah.
They're providing a service. They're providing
stepping on their toes.
Yeah, and I think I mean, to the extent that we can work with others, other efforts in the city is a good thing. Complement each other, and they've got their unique focus where they're trying to get people to sign up to help other people. So it's kind of a specific, it seems to me, I mean, I shouldn't speak because I don't know completely, but from what I understand, it seems to be a kind of a very specific mission.
Yeah, and I don't even know anything about it, so I want to know about it.
Yeah. So I did talk to the president, or whatever her title is, so Easthampton Neighbors. One of the things that was sort of stopping them from getting going was, so this whole, this is, the whole model is a national model. They're all over the place, right? And so there is a certain amount of insurance each community has to have for their volunteers, which I was surprised to hear about that. But then I heard it and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like, I go over to help somebody with lawn work and I trip and fall or whatever, so I assume that's what it's for. Anyway, Easthampton, some of the ways that other places deal with that is they charge a small fee for people to use the service, and Easthampton didn't want to use that model. A lot of them don't use that model. So they had to, anyway, long story short, they had to get the money to buy the insurance, and they just got the money to be able to do it like the day I talked to her. So that was, so now they felt like they could get up and going. So I do think that one thing is, they did invite us to go to their meeting, but I didn't, at that moment, when I talked to her, I think things weren't shut down yet. I think it was right after our last meeting. So I don't know what they're doing with Skype things, and I can, or whatever, Zoom or whatever. I can follow up with her and find out if I can go to a Zoom meeting of theirs. But I do know that they are looking for help promoting to volunteer, to get more volunteers. And that might be something, so that would be something I think we could do. And I do think we should try to be pretty, we should try to coordinate with them quite a bit, because I think we're trying to do a lot of the same things, just sort of differently. Anyway. Yeah. So that could be something we put on our page, like, hey, there's this.
So they're called what?
Easthampton Neighbors, or I don't know what it's called. Easthampton Neighbors?
I think that's right.
That's what, I mean, I know in Northampton, it's Northampton Neighbors, and,
So it's not this mutual aid network thing.
No. This has been in the works for a while. They just happened to just get
Like a few years or something? Or?
over a year, I think. Easthampton Neighbors, and like all these places have, the same. You probably can't see that. They all have the same logo, and Northampton Neighbors has the same logo all over the country. So it's like sort of like the PTA, very loosely formed, or PTOs or whatever. You know what I mean? Anyway, and it's great. And Northampton has a pretty vibrant program, and it's Easthampton's trying to get there.
Yeah, interesting. What do you know an example of something that a similar organization has done in a bigger or more established, longer running place?
If you Google Easthampton, if you go Google the whole neighbors thing, like you can see, you can click on different cities, have different programs. You can see a lot of different, the same approach all over the country.
Okay.
So basically, it's mostly to support its seniors, or I suppose it's probably for people, anybody who really needs support. But if I needed support, I would register, and then, or if I wanted to be a helper, I would register as a volunteer, and then like somebody would need help with their leaves or a supermarket run or whatever, and then they would find a volunteer to do it.
Was this what the mayor talked about early in her tenure? And she actually announced it at one of the big parties at the brewery, where she talked about there was a day of volunteering, and I actually volunteered. She was there, and then
that was a single event.
It was a single event. Okay, but I heard she talked about how we were going to set up this this network of volunteers. Is that it? And then I didn't hear anything about it for a long time. Like I signed up, was like, sure, I'll do it, and then I didn't hear anything.
That may have been an offshoot of that single day.
Just 2 hours ago on Facebook, she did post, Mayor Nicole LaChapelle is launching the Easthampton Good Neighbor program, and it's like a form, a Google Doc you fill out.
Oh, okay.
Be involved or just have more information about it. So she posted that on her mayor page just 2 hours ago.
But is that Easthampton Neighbors?
Yep.
Is it the link to Easthampton Neighbors?
Yep, Easthampton Good Neighbor program.
Well, it's not Good Neighbor on their site. It's just Easthampton Neighbors. There's no good in there.
Oh, this was just from her.
From Nicole?
Yeah, from Nicole. Join our community care response team by volunteering to do wellness checks and calls to our neighbors in Easthampton. So you just have to
I think that sounds different.
That sounds like it might be in connection with the shelter in place order.
It says Easthampton Good Neighbor program, so.
It's on her page?
Yeah, yeah. In the description of it, it does say this COVID-19 response effort will be spearheaded by remote volunteers. The Easthampton Good Neighbors program checks in with residents and connects them to local, state, and federal resources.
Hmm.
I don't think this is the same thing.
No,
Okay.
it sounds more specific for this situation that we're in now. Because it sounds like it's a connection with resources.
Yeah, it just had the same
Yeah.
word, the title of it. So
Well, Easthampton Neighbors, as I'm going through this, helps neighbors 55 years and over. So Easthampton Good Neighbor is probably not age limited. Yes?
No, yeah, this is this is to do just to do the wellness check-in calls. I just heard from like Alex Morse campaign. They're doing them too. I think it's not related to
okay.
yeah. So anyway, yeah.
One thought, I know the mayor's very busy, but I wonder if we should invite her periodically and ask for like a reality check. Like what is there anything she'd like us to be doing right now? I know she also said like, you guys are going to figure it yourselves out. It's going to take you like a year, like the development of a committee takes time, but yeah.
Well, she knows when we meet. And usually the obstacle for her in the past has been the school board committee, because she used to have to sit in with that before she could come to see us. So I don't know what her schedule entails, but she always has an open invitation. She can just walk in on us at any time. But I did get Abby sent out an email that she couldn't make this meeting. So I did ask her if there's anything she'd like to put out by proxy. And she was just overwhelmed because she's dealing with her college students, grad students, homeschooling, and I didn't. And I said, well, maybe we're going to find out a lot of our members are in the same boat. I don't know how many of you have kids at home homeschooling and things like that. But
Alyssa.
just to say, the first title of what our agenda item was going to be was it got changed to mission statement during this time, but it was first going to be, are we even relevant in this time? What Margaret said, we don't have anything to do, we don't have anything to offer.
Well,
so the Facebook page sounds nice. Raise your hands, who wants to administrate it? There you go. Who wants to create it? There's another one. So, everybody's, these are good ideas, but it means something else to do that someone has to take control of.
And if you all feel
If anybody wants to jump right in.
something that I do really like the idea, and I think it would be really beneficial to a lot of people in town. So I would definitely help out a good chunk, but I don't think it's something I could do just on my own.
There has to be someone in charge, because first of all, people are going to want to post. They're going to want to comment.
Well, you can set a setting so that they can't.
You can, but then are we cutting out the interaction part of the whole purpose of it?
Well, if we say that they should come to public speak, right?
We could do that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly okay to limit it to something that's manageable for us, because otherwise, I think we have to have some parameters, because otherwise it's not going to be anything that's manageable to any of us at all. It's just not going to be realistic to respond to people on an ongoing basis. Like, it's just.
No, I don't want to do that, because you're going to end up with trolls.
Yeah, that just is going to be rough. So I think we'd have to set it up where they're not commenting specifically on our page.
Yeah, but don't,
Um,
not everybody's on Facebook. And
Right.
a lot of people I know are getting very tired with Facebook
Right.
and just waiting for the next
Mhm.
substance, anything at all that would take its place would
Mhm.
be preferable.
Well, I'm just looking like at the Easthampton Mass group page and, sorry, I'm trying to get to the home part of it, but like there's 9,000 members. I mean, it's just a way, and they're Easthampton residents. It's a way to reach, a lot of people.
Oh, I think it's a great thing.
And,
I'm not sure I want to be the administrator of it.
yeah. So yeah, I guess.
Rebecca, we can't hear you.
Are you talking to us or?
I'm talking to Rebecca. She's talking.
No, I know. I'm asking Rebecca if she's talking to us. You lost your mic. Talking to her cat.
Blah, blah, blah.
There you
Okay, now
are.
we can hear you.
There, is that better?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
We didn't hear a thing you said.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know. Anyway, what I wanted to say a couple things. One, I just want to mention that the Easthampton group page, even though it says it's a page, is a group, which is different than a page.
Mhm.
I've created a page and managed it, and we could consider creating a page where what happens is if somebody tries to post, it needs to be approved, and there is an opportunity to put messages in the inbox. We might want to set the page up, to make clear that we invite people's questions and comments, which would then be looked at during our meeting, which means that somebody could propose a post or put in a message in the inbox. Then it gets brought to the meeting. So that way any administrator, whether it's me, whether I volunteer, then we would know that nobody's overstepping, that all of this is getting brought to the meeting. We'll decide on what the replies are, and that'll be done. I mean, I think it can be set up to make clear that we invite your comments, but that it would take time to reply because we would look at them at our meeting and invite them. Maybe we could put on the page, next committee meeting is here and here and here, I don't know. These are just some thoughts. Yeah.
It's a way for us to get exposure. Basically, it's a way to educate the community that we're here and to get exposure.
Yeah, I like it. I like the idea.
I think it would be good not to have an inbox. I'm not on Facebook, but to encourage people to come to public speak, because that's going to eliminate a lot of people who are just making comments.
Mhm.
If they're really interested, they will take the time, they will figure out, and what could be posted on there is a list of the meeting dates or the next meeting date, and that people are welcome to come to public speak. And that way they have some skin in the game because they're actually making the effort to come via Zoom, as opposed to, it's easy to, type in a message and send it off. But, then it's how serious are they? How invested are they in their comment or concern? But this way they actually have to take a couple steps.
Right. Because otherwise people could have us on a goose chase of running around following through rabbit holes of all their different
we don't
comments and questions and control our lives terribly. Yeah.
Our,
That's what I was thinking.
our time is coming to an end, just to let everybody know. I'm not the timekeeper, but I suppose I am.
I was wondering.
Let me just say this. I will message the mayor's office. We've just had a great conversation about this. I will ask them to please look at this. It's recorded. They'll be able to see it. And let's see if they have a suggestion of, because we don't even know if we're, as a committee, allowed to have a website or, I mean, or a Facebook page. Do other committees have Facebook pages? Do we know that?
Well,
I I thought that when we first talked about this a couple meetings ago, somebody was going to check on that.
you know, I know the cultural council does.
The police department does.
Okay.
Yeah, but
all
they're a
right.
Yeah.
department, but the
Let's see.
planning department has one too, but those are all
Okay, well, then
departments.
let's shoot this to the mayor's office and see if we can get some kind of feedback.
And ask her if there's anything that she would like us as a committee to be focusing on.
Yeah,
or
have her give
differently.
us some input of any kind of direction she would like us to take.
Mhm.
I just wanted to add too, you know, when I was saying about like tips for being a good neighbor to kind of grab people's attention, maybe drop some thoughts. Like, I can't think of specifically off the top of my head now, but like I don't even know how I'm subscribed to this, but I guess because it caught my eye somewhere along the way because of this group, and I subscribe to this list where it's 52 weeks of good neighboring. So I get this email message every week that gives a hint about how to be a good neighbor and something to do. And some things are kind of like over the top. Like I don't think people are going to be realistically doing them. But like this last week was plant a garden in your front yard. And the idea is that, you know, it has paragraphs that talk about all the benefits of that you'd be working in your front yard, you're accessible, you're visible to your neighbors. It's a great opportunity. You know, people will see you, you know, they're walking by and anyway, people may not want to do that, but it's like 52 things. Like every week there's a different idea of how to like basically make yourself visible, accessible to your neighbors, get to know your neighbors, all that sort of thing. So I was just thinking like even little tips like that, like plant a garden in your front yard, you know, little things that we could just toss out. Maybe that's not the best of the options, and a lot of them, quite honestly, I haven't read them, but I have them all saved in my files thinking that we might want them someday to tap into some of those ideas. But just like in these times it might be, you know, call one of your neighbors and just check in and make sure they're okay, or you know, whatever. But like to just put one little thing out there, again with our name, our identity, like a logo, so it's associating all these good neighbor tips with us as a group. And then, you know, we could always have a tagline that would invite people to talk to us about whatever, you know, and when we meet or whatever, like a little tagline at the bottom or something. That's just kind of what I can kind of envision, like little hints. And you know, we also talked about one part of our mission is to help citizens connect with their government. Well, we could put out there, hey, there's a city council meeting tonight at 6 o'clock. Tune in on blah, blah, blah if you're interested. You know, I mean, not that, you know, I don't want us to become the sole source of people relying on us for this kind of thing, like where we're going to be, that's going to be a job we're going to own of making every meeting known to everybody in the community. But, you know, maybe these things can be interspersed with a tip on how to reach out to your neighbor.
Current.
What'd you say?
That means administering this daily and keeping up with.
Well, no,
all
yeah,
that.
that's
So,
kind of what I'm saying. I don't want us
Yeah.
to do. I don't want us to have to do that and be responsible for that. But if we occasionally threw out there, you know, people aren't relying on us for as an advertising agency. But if we occasionally threw out there as a post like, hey, there's a city council meeting tonight at 6 in case you're interested, or, you know, just a more random approach, not a this is our job approach. But just touching on the various aspects of our mission statement, you know, making community members feel welcome, accepted, and valued. We could just put a positive message out there every once in a while about our city, you know, like I think Patty had mentioned, you know, something that we know good happened. We could just, I guess what I'm trying to say is nothing where we're hemmed in, where we're responsible for, you know, communicating every meeting, or we're responsible for, you know, like sharing all the good news that happens in Easthampton, or, you know, we're not hemming ourselves into a job, but we're basically just using the opportunity to make ourselves, our existence known, and put some positive messages out there share some information, like just to make ourselves known and try to be a positive force for the mission that we have outlined.
Okay.
It's just my
Yeah.
thought.
So when someone does create this, one of these someones here, or someone who's going to look at this, we don't know if there's someone on the outside who'd like to do this for us, who might see this. That's another thing. Why? Another reason to call the mayor's office and say, do you have some young person who's bored as hell who wants to just create
That's a
a
thought.
Facebook page for us
That's a thought.
and take
I mean,
care of it.
and we also-
But it's already 7:08. We've gone over our time.
I thought we went till 7:15, no?
No, it was going to be actually 6:15 to 7, like our regular
Oh.
meetings. Usually when we meet
When do we
face to
ever
face,
end at
people can't
7?
wait to get out at 7.
We
Now
never
that
end
we're all-
at 7.
Before we go, I feel
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Emily was trying to say something before, and
Yeah, I wanted to say, one thing, like I'd love it if on our agenda every time we have someone read the mission statement, the mission and the vision, because I think that'll help orient us. I think that's partly one that would just be important, because we sometimes like flounder with our identity again, so, and I did not get it out ahead of time. And also, if we need more members, maybe we should talk to the mayor about, nominating some more members, and maybe we get a young person of color, make us more diverse. And one of them might want to work on the Facebook page. Like, I can work on it. I'm just not going to promise to do it in the next week, but.
Well, what you say has been done, and
Oh, okay.
more than once.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows we need another person. As someone said before, she's probably very busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if anyone's even, I did send people to her, in fact,
Oh,
that
right.
wanted to be on the committee,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
But we should shoot her. Let's find out about this. So no one stood up. No one has said, I'm going to create this page. So we're going to leave the meeting where if someone does want to create the page, that's nothing you just can't do and shoot everybody an email saying, hey, look at this.
Okay.
Well, the only thing is we can't provide feedback or dialogue outside of the meeting. Just remember that.
But can you just write, I'm starting to create it? Can you do that?
Well, I mean, here's my question. How is a Facebook page like a meeting? If we have a Facebook page and we're communicating on that, that's not a meeting. That's just a
Yeah, but
Facebook page.
we're not communicating with each other.
We just
So that's the other thing I brought up. You're saying this Facebook page would have to be an official page of the CRC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So that brings up even more obstacles.
So what I was thinking
we're on the regulations.
What I was thinking is that we could even have like suggested proposed posts. We meet once a month. We could have proposed like 4 posts or 3 posts. It doesn't have to be every week. And have the committee review it and say that they're good with it. That's okay to post it. Like have a proposal, and in each meeting share it. Like, this is what I'd propose for the week. And or for the month, and have the committee look at it and say, okay, yeah, that's good, like stamp of approval, like vote that it's okay to put that out there.
Yeah, that's good, but once a month is going to lose a lot of interest.
No, I'm thinking since we meet once a month, maybe we have four posts that we bring for the committee.
Yeah, okay.
Alex, so once a week you're putting something out there.
Okay.
So Jane, if you want to talk to the mayor, whoever, and see what approval we need for this page, I don't mind creating it. At least start with the administration of it. I guess I'll take that up.
No,
Yeah.
that's a great
Thanks,
idea. I
Alyssa.
think the first step is
Thank you.
let's see the legality of this. You know, what do we have to do to make it happen? And then we can somebody's going to get drafted. So
And
Alyssa
I'd be
Alyssa
happy
has
to work.
volunteered.
I'd be
Alyssa
happy to work with
volunteered.
Alyssa.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
I'd be happy to work with her.
yeah, okay. See, already we're gaining on it.
There we go.
All right. Anyone want to motion to adjourn?
So maybe we should all come up with some posts for the
Yes,
next meeting.
that's
We're
good
thinking about
homework.
A line, a sentence or two.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get a list of things that we'd want to put out there because, you know, that's going to involve sitting and thinking and drinking. So and then we'll see if it's even legal to do this or what we have to do and what are the protocols, what can't we do. This whole open meeting law has so many little don't do this things.
The question, could Jane send out, if when we hear back from the mayor, that we can have a Facebook
I will
page?
keep everyone
Is it
posted
that
on.
simple?
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
keep everything posted. I will shoot everybody a letter to any information that comes to me. It won't be, that's perfectly legal because it's not, we're not discussing. So
Right.
if it's information comes to me, you all will get it.
Great.
And when I hear back from Elizabeth Green for the visuals that she creates, I'll just share it with you all, but we won't discuss it. Nobody can, say anything about it, but I'll share it with you so you have time to look at it, digest it, think about it, and we can talk about it at our next meeting, like put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Great. Thank you.
Sounds good.
That
Okay.
sounds very good.
Waiting for
Motion to this, what are we doing?
I'm
Adjourn.
waiting for a motion.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor of adjourning? No, you don't have to do that. A
who-
meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Bye.
Who was the
Bye.
second? Who was the second?
Oh, Deb.
Mark. Deb?
Deb
Mark.
was.
I think we said it at the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
Choose whoever
flip
you
a
want,
coin.
Patty. Make
Thank
up the
you.
minutes any way you like.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
Good to
Meeting
see you
adjourned.
all.
We
Bye.
don't
Stay
have to do a.
healthy.
Bye.
Stay healthy.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
And meeting.